Yep, welcome back to the house in Fata Morgana. Last time we finished up the witch's story. We found out how Mel, Yukimasa, and Jacopo were involved in her life and what they did to her. Pretty fucked up. And then Michelle endured that and went up the tower. And then he found Giselle, who exposed his secret, which I had been thinking about. But apparently Michelle is a woman, or was a woman, or something's going on. I don't know exactly, but I think we're about to find out. Yeah, let's go. This was the 7th door, by the way. This was 1084. So Michelle would be, he said he was 20 or 21 or something. So he would be like 6 or 7 here, I guess. There are two things out of the ordinary about that baby. The first, its parents embraced, and the second, they wholly rejected. Although, it was sometime before the baby's second peculiarity emerged, and until it finally did, no one was any the wiser, not even the child itself. Its mother surely enjoyed that brief period of happiness, before her child finally realized the truth. Blind to the fact that the moment it had let out its first cry, everything came crashing down. To this day, she still doesn't know the child she gave birth to, but she set loose a curse upon the world, a curse that turned angels into demons, humans into witches. My god, look at that. She's beautiful, isn't she? Have you seen her laugh? Not yet, I haven't. At any rate, that color certainly is something else. God's gift to us. No, she's an angel sent from heaven. An angel. Ah yes, I can see it now, Lydie. Her white hair and almost translucent skill. It's beautiful. Might she open her eyes? Maybe she felt nearby. Do you like your father more than me? Is that it, sweetheart? Gorgeous, aren't they? Such a deep, enchanting color. Like two little jewels. Ah, that they are. A magnificent shade of red. I've never seen anything like it. And this is her child. She's special, I can feel it. We have to take good care of her. She needs a name. One that's just as special as her. Have you already chosen, Otome? You were the one begging for a girl. You do it. Besides, I already had to rack my brain for the boys' names. Now it's your turn. Are you really going to let me? My, that's quite a lot of pressure. Name her after an angel, then. Oh, I like that. Alright, then. We'll call her Michelle after the Archangel Michael. You'll grow up to be beautiful as an angel, my Michelle. I've always wanted a little girl. Does she know? With her snowy white hair, skin so pale you could see the veins beneath it, and her ruby red eyes, she was a very peculiar looking little girl, and her mother showered her with love. She truly believed her daughter was an angel sent from above, born as a human child. The blessed babe, born as a girl, was given an angel's name. Michelle. Me. Checkmate. Didier? Oh yeah, I forgot the brother was named Didier. Didier or Didier? In French it would be Didier. Not sure. Gah. I see, that's what you did. Curses, I completely overlooked that. I thought you were adventuring with your pawns, but all that was a diversion. You're too short-sighted, Didier. You need to look at the big picture. Sometimes it's the tactician and not the soldier holding the sword. Haha, you got me. You're quite good at this, Michelle. What inspired you to take such an aggressive strategy? It was not inspiration. It was derivation. Derivation. Chess is in many ways similar to real war tactics. Or military texts. You haven't read all of them, have you? I have nothing but time. Impressive. Even I haven't read all the books in my room. You planning to join the order with that kind of knowledge? You jest. You're the one who's going to be a knight, Didier. Haha, that I am. War is the man's job, after all. I want you to be there to welcome me home. Who the fuck is this? George? Didier, oh Didier. I'm in a bit of a bind, Oh, hello there, Michelle. I didn't know you were home, Georges. Just got back, yep. Oh ho, playing chess again, are you? Let's see, what do you have here? Get away from the board. Yikes, you got trounced, huh? And you call yourself her big brother, huh? As if you're any better. That's not funny, George. I cannot approve of someone who can't keep up with the flow of a battle becoming a knight. Given her family's rank, you would eventually be put in charge of other soldiers. What, are you worried about me? No, I'm saying I've been blessed with such a caring sister. But fear not. I have a guardian angel after all. Where's the logic in that? Sorry to interrupt your moment, but does nobody listen to me? Haha, no, don't pout. So what seems to be the problem, George? Ah yes, listen to this. The Royal Court is holding a swordsmanship show, and for some reason I was selected to participate. How unfortunate for you. I can already see you on the ground sobbing. Hey now, that's just mean. Besides, my hands weren't meant to hold the sword. Look at these dainty fingers. They're covered in calluses. Dainty calluses? Tell me, why would they have an artist sword fight? It's the whole point, I would think. No need to get so worked up. No one is expecting you to win. Maybe not, but we do have a name to worry about. And you know what that means, don't you? I'm going to lose, that's a given. But I want to do it in style. I feel bad for your sword. But don't be like that. Now come on, time's a-wasting. To the courtyard we go. Just so you know, if I train you, I'm going to train you right. All I want to know is how to look good. What is it, Michelle? May I watch? Fine with me, but you know you can't go outside. I'll be watching from the hall. I can open one of the windows facing the courtyard. Still, you need to be careful. You can't spend too much time in the sun. I know. I had two older brothers. The eldest, Didier, belonged to an order of knights that served the church, and below him was George, who served as a court artist. He was, in all likelihood, who would inherit the family estate, as knights were not firmly allowed to own property. Nevertheless, the Bonjour family name was upheld by Didier. And then there was me, the youngest, the only daughter. Physically, I was not in particularly good health. Because of the color of my skin, I was hypersensitive to sunlight. I rarely left the estate. My world was contained entirely within these walls. And perhaps out of some sense of pity or compassion, my two brothers spent a good deal of time with me. Lydia played chess with me, and George taught me how to draw. And among other things, they taught me how to read and write. For a girl, I was incredibly fortunate. The one thing I wasn't allowed to do, though, was hold a sword. While hardly anything unusual, it bothered me deeply, and it had for as long as I could remember. If I had been told I couldn't do it because I lacked the strength, I probably would have accepted it. But the reason given was not that I was weak, but that I was a girl. And with each passing year, that smoldering frustration in the back of my heart grew larger. Come on, put your back into it. Like I said, all I want is to put on a good show. Oh, you'll put on quite a show, unless you learn how to swing that sword properly. Ooh. Give me a break! Out in the garden, my two brothers traded swings bare-chested. All I could do, though, was observe from afar, and every time I found myself forced to watch, I felt a sharp pain like a needle piercing my chest. A needle that seemed to be growing ever thicker. My mother and my brothers loved me dearly, but that didn't change the fact that the outside world lay beyond my reach. I was trapped in the estate by my own body. At first, I thought that was the root of my pain, but that answer seemed to contradict something inside me, something I couldn't explain, something I couldn't ignore even as a child. So I searched within myself, trying to find an explanation for the constant swelling sensation of wrongness inside me. Day after day, I gazed into the cavern of my own heart. Okay, I guess we're really doing this. My mind, now what are the two of them doing out there? George was asked to do a swordsmanship show at the royal court, so Didi is helping him. Swordsmanship? Oh, I just can't stand those shows. Blades are so dangerous. I can't watch people swinging them at each other. Why don't you come back to your room with me, Michelle? I would love to teach you how to sew. But Mom, I want to watch them practice. Okay, we're doing a gender thing. Michelle. First of all, you need to watch how you speak, young lady. You do not call me Mom, you call me Mother. This is what happens when you spend so much time around boys. As your mother, I don't approve of you playing chess or making art. A woman has no need for such skills. It will only make you look insolent. But I want you to grow up to be a respectable woman. This is my job and my dream, as your mother. Now come. I would rather you looked at some fine embroidery with me than a couple of sweaty men. Yes, Mother. You're my little girl, after all. Spending time with my mother was agonizing. Was it because her world was so isolated? No, that wasn't it. Her gentle voice, the sweet scent of her perfume. The way she constantly told me how much she loved me, and her diatribes about how wonderful it was to be a girl. Everything she did put so much pressure on me. But above all, she loved to say, "You are my little girl, after all." And there was nothing strange about that at all. Every time I looked in the mirror, I saw the daughter of a noble. That was who I was. So the only thing wrong was how I felt. But every time I was faced with the reality of who I was, my heart wavered. I had no interest in learning to embroider. I didn't understand why that was necessary. I knew what purpose it served. Everything she taught me I would need when I was wed off to some noble boy, and it was my responsibility to learn those things. It didn't feel right, though. I couldn't even accept the fact that one day I would be married. There was but an ominous shadow lurking in my future. I would have preferred ravaging the books in Didier's room than having a conversation with my mother. Tales of heroes of old and dauntless soldiers. Military texts written by tacticians in the midst of war. Thinking about them set my heart aflutter and made me think about my brother, who was training to be a knight. I envisioned armor flecked with rust, a longsword glimmering with the blood of savages. Soon I found myself in my fantasies, imagining how the sword would feel in my hands, the sensation of the hilt beneath my fingers, swinging it gallantly like my brother. How heavy was it? How much muscle would I need to carry it? How much impact would I feel in my hands when I struck something? How restricted would my vision be wearing a helmet? How much did it weigh? How hot was it inside? I had no way of answering any of those questions though. Kill me now. I have some cloth if you'd like to wipe yourself off. Oh yeah, thanks. Look, I'm so dead. You were at it for a long time. I've never known D to half-ass something once it gets started, which I guess is what makes him knight material, but are you open to him becoming a knight? Well, you know, I can assume he'd inherit the estate handle taking care of everything. So it's like, why's he gotta go and be some priest's whipping boy? Don't tell him I said that though. He wants to fight for the greater good. I don't know, despite the name, he wouldn't be doing much fighting himself. Anywho, someone as passionate as him might be able to make changes for the better. Changes? He knows what condition the order is in. That's why he's joining. Maybe he wants to whip him into shape. Melt him down and forge the whole thing. Haha. So he might be able to change things. What? What are you muttering about, Michelle? Hey, whoa, hold it. The pain I felt in my chest when I smelled the sweat emanating from George's body. When I looked at his slender but distinctly male build, I was convinced it was admiration. Did I want to become a knight too? Maybe the discomfort I felt was because I wanted to be like him? But did it all go away if you were able to change your rules and I could train the order as well? I was positive it would. Okay, yeah, we're I didn't expect the story to full on do this, but I guess it is. Didier. Michelle, hold on. You can't come barging into my room unannounced. I'm trying to change. We need to talk. I said stop. You're a girl. You can't just walk in on a man as he's changing. I see no reason for you to be so self-conscious. Listen to me, Michelle. George told me you're planning to overhaul the Hoarder. He told you that? No, I hardly have such grand aspirations. Don't be coy. I believe you have what it takes to do it, did you? What's gotten into you? You're unusually fiery today. So I wanted to ask you a favor. When you have enough influence in the Order, I'd like you to make me a knight too. You what? I'm tired of the way Mother treats me. Always saying I can't do this or that because I'm a girl. I want to learn how to swing a sword. I don't want to do embroidery. I don't care about jewelry or fancy clothing. Michelle, what's gotten into you? I'm so much more interested in the world you live in, Didier. So please. Well, I'll be. I suppose we must have let ourselves spend too much time with you. Not you too, that's exactly what Mother said. First of all, Michelle, you don't have the strength to hold the sword. And I'll train until I do. And if that doesn't work, I still have my mind. You know good and well I couldn't. People are not chess pieces, Michelle. But Didier. But above all, you're missing the most important point. I will not for any reason become the kind of man who makes a woman take up a sword. Didier. This may seem normal to you growing up with two brothers, but I want you to listen to me, Michelle. Men and women walk different paths. Men wield swords and fight against dangerous enemies, and they do so to protect the weak, women and children. I am here to protect you and your mother. You're no different than her. You don't treat me any different than her. Honestly, what's gotten into you, Michelle? Why wouldn't I treat you like a daughter of the Ballinger estate? Your brother and I, we never meant to make you think. Forget it. What? I'm sorry, I knew what I was asking was foolish. Oh? But I thought you would understand how I feel. Even just a little bit. What was I expecting him to understand? Even I didn't understand the things I felt. I wanted to know what had gotten into me far more than he did. What I had done was no better than throw a temper tantrum. Was I that desperate to become a knight? No. I had just thought that the key to the change in my heart lay down that road, but ultimately there was nothing. Assuming Didier had agreed, and assuming I did become a knight, it wouldn't do anything for the core problem. As I dashed from my brother's room, I snuck a peek at him. His face was filled with an intense perplexity. And how could I blame him? I had tried to push a dozen different ideals onto him at once. I felt myself with the vain hope that he would somehow be able to make sense of me, when I couldn't even make sense of myself. And now, bubbling with unwarranted anger at being let down, I fled to my own chambers. I can only imagine how frustrating that must have been for him. It was the spring of my 14th year. Heavy clouds filled the sky, blocking out the sun and giving the impression of late evening all throughout the day. I, for one, preferred it when the sun wasn't out. Not that sunlight would kill me. But if it was bright enough, the whole world was so white I could hardly see a thing, which meant I could only go outside on days when the weather made most everyone else gloomy. It's interesting that we're doing like portrait like this instead of regular sprites. As I was meandering to the courtyard, I spotted someone I had never seen before. A warm breeze blew past, sending up a swirl of flower petals. Is this the person that said you would have the galls to have feelings for me or whatever? The girl's dress hung lightly over her frame, tracing her gentle curves. Who are you? I asked bluntly, and the girl twirled around, smiling. My apologies, you just have such a beautiful courtyard here. I let myself in for a little walk. Okay, I had I had written the name Amy in my notes, but I don't remember why. Like, we've seen this name before, but I don't remember where. So I should have been more detailed in my notes. Long chestnut hair flowed over round feminine shoulders. It swayed slightly in the wind. The cloud of melancholy dissipated in the light of her smile. You must be Michelle. You're just as pretty as I heard. And you are? My name is Amy. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Finally meet me? What was she talking about? As I stood there baffled by this strange woman, he stepped toward me, kissing me softly on the cheek. I'm thrilled to make your acquaintance, Michelle. Her voice was like someone pouring honey into my ear, electrifyingly sweet. I'm George's fiancée, and it also stuck another needle into my chest. Oh, yeah, this was, the first girl that he had a crush on, that he said that was his brother's fiancée. She was a noble girl by the name of Amy Joburg. Though only 15, she was the very image of refined, polished to a shine. No one had told me my brother was to be married. It came out of nowhere, and it seemed I was the only one who didn't know. That evening, when the family gathered around the table for supper, Amy was there too, and they prepared an extravagant feast for the occasion. My father, Antonin, looked so proud of his two boys. Lydie soon to receive his assignment, and George soon to be wed. The banquet proceeded smoothly. Not a doubt in the air that we were a happy family, but my mind was elsewhere. I found myself unconsciously chasing Amy with my eyes, watching the way those slender fingers gripped her spoon, her full lips parting to allow a piece of fruit in, her deep red tongue visible for but the briefest of moments. The way all the muscles in her face seemed to relax in bliss as sweet juices seeped into her mouth. The way she spoke, so soft and gentle, letting each sound hang in the air just briefly before intoning the next. She was distinctly feminine in a different way than my mother. Apparently, Amy was going to be living at the voluntary estate for some time. Mother was pleased to have another girl around, or more specifically, she was relieved to have found someone other than my brothers for me to spend time with. Yeah, that's gonna backfire for her, I think. I had assumed I would hate being around another girl. Surely, she wouldn't be able to play chess after all, but for some reason, I felt much less suffocated around her than my mother. One night, Amy's family and an array of nobles from both Ahaz's social circles assembled at the estate for a party. A din the likes of which I never heard in my life filled the great hall. Everywhere I looked there were people. Servants scrambled every which way, silverware clanged against dishes in an almost constant hum. Voices from all directions. I felt moderately ill. Hey D, I feel like we're critically short on waiters. This don't look good for us. And who was it we sent about inviting everyone he came across again? Who are those people? They're artists like me. I met them at the court. Let's see, we have some painters, composers, sculptors, troubadours, poets, writers, you name it. None of them have any connection to the Jouberts or all Bollingers. These names are... Because I don't know if I should say them in French or say them how I would say it in English. Because if I would say them in French, it would be Joubert and Bollinger. But it seems weird to just say French random in the middle of the sentence. Maybe I'll just do that. Sure they do, they're my friends. And you know, this is me and Amy's party. You can play with your friends elsewhere. I hope you realize we have a reputation to uphold. Off in one corner, several men, presumably George's friends, gathered in the circle. They stood out from the other aristocrats, both in appearance and the air they gave off. The clothes they wore, the embroidery hidden beneath their jacket cuffs, their manner of speech, the way they held themselves. They were simply put a far cry from the hard-headed Didier's ideal party guests. Even watching them from afar, it was clear my two brothers ran in very different crowds. The only reason headstrong Lydie and free-spirited Georges were able to get along at all was because they were brothers. If they had been strangers, I doubt their paths would cross much, and if they did, those intersections would be quite rocky. Hey, come here, guys. George's shouting voice pulled my preoccupied mind back to the surface. He summoned his friends, and led them to where I stood. What are you doing hiding in the corner, Michelle? I didn't even notice you. Allow me to introduce you to a few of my friends. Oh, no, Georges put his hands on my shoulders, peeling me off the wall and standing me in front of his male friends. Socialization was the last thing on my mind. I searched for Didier, hoping he would come to my rescue, but he was off trading pleasantries facing away from me. This is my baby sister, Michelle. Be nice. George, I don't... Gracious, your skin is even more pale than I imagined. It's like something out of a fairy tale. And why have you never brought her with you to the court? She'd be a sure hit. Now, how old are you now? 12, mayhap? No, don't treat the lady like a child. I'll have you know she's 14. All the more reason she should be out there making friends. The whole court flip if they knew you had such a gorgeous sister, Georges. Don't be a brute, my man. Our little angel has to be kept inside for personal reasons. Uh-oh, sounds like I haven't been showing the lady her due respect. I've yet to even properly introduce myself. How rude indeed. Their laughs grated on my nerves, and so did the way Georges spoke as though I was his property. They looked like they were praising me, which made me sick to my stomach. I had been paying enough attention to notice the man who had asked if I was 12, and the rest of them too, examining me from head to toe in search of curves. I was indeed underdeveloped for 14, but what did that matter? I didn't want a body shaped like Amy's or my mother's. Now then, my lady, a proper greeting. The man got down on one knee before me. For a split second, I didn't comprehend what he was doing. Go on, Michelle. He's waiting. He whispered into my ear. That was when it all came back to me. The traditional greeting performed between a man and a woman. Come on, Michelle, don't tell me you forgot what to do. I knew. I knew the process. I had the knowledge. Mother had taught me the rules, shown me the procedure. I was to present my hand to the man for him to kiss. All I had to do was hold on my hand, but I was frozen. My body fought tooth and nail against the simple act. The thought of that man putting his lip on my skin sent a chill through me. Why was this a traditional greeting? Why did I have to go through this? Michelle! By the sound of George's frantic voice, my arm creeped up from my side. Then I remembered that despite being his friend, they were still nobility. As wanton as his social interactions may have been, he still had a reputation to maintain, and I understood that. I also understood that, as their sister, it was my responsibility not to do anything that might tarnish either of my brothers' names. Also, by tradition, the man wasn't supposed to actually kiss the woman's hand. The proper way to do it required to simply mimic the act, rather than make real contact. That much I could handle. The man kneeling before me gave an uncomfortable chuckle at my reluctance, shrugged, and reverently took my hand in his. And then... he pressed his lip firmly against my skin. Oh no, he did it. There was a vaguely warm sensation on the back of my hand for the briefest moment. What do you... Reflectively, I smacked the man's hand away. George's eyes went wide in horror, and the man gave another playful shrug. He's merely offering you a greeting, my lady. Or is even that a new experience to you? Your innocence is truly precious. I was half a second away from throwing a barrage of insults, but I bit my tongue and stomped off instead. What? Michelle, hey, come back, Michelle. I had spent all that time convincing myself I couldn't humiliate my brothers, but now I wouldn't hear a word of it. I'd drawn a fair bit of attention, and other people tried to stop me too, but I brushed them all off, marching my way out of the great hall. I feel so dirty. I'll say my thoughts at the end. You called that a greeting? No, that was no greeting. That was... I'll be taking that. I say, practically swiping lots of water off a passing waiter's tray. With it, I washed my hand by the window facing the courtyard. But no matter how much water I poured over it, I couldn't erase the sickening sensation of his mouth on my hand. So I rubbed it with my sleeve until my skin was bright red. I wanted to feel something else, anything else, even pain. Think before you act, George. What were you doing inviting people like that into our home? I was angry, and I had every right to be. He had not performed the proper greeting. Even in jest, he had no business actually putting his lips on my hand. It was not acceptable behavior for an aristocrat. He was a guest. He should have been ashamed. Was I angry that he had been disrespectful? No, that wasn't the reason. It wasn't very nice of you, running off like that. At the sound of his voice, I couldn't turn back. I felt a sickening warmth almost directly against my back. A man from the great hall grabbed me by the wrist, spun me around, and pressed me against the wall. The bitter scent of wine wafted from above. What the hell are you doing? I tried a second time to get away from him, and that was when reality sunk in. I couldn't do it. All the strength I could muster wasn't enough to make the man's hand budge. My arms were locked in place. I didn't think he was especially strong either. He was hardly built like Didier. And still, I couldn't move an inch. You've got a tongue like a boy, my lady. But I know some people are fond of that these days. can't say I mind myself. Let go. Had I always been this feeble? Were my arms truly so worthless I couldn't even escape this brute's grip? Why did I have to get stuck with his body? Now, just so we're clear, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm no monster, I promise you that. And why are you holding me against the wall? Because I want the chance to try and woo you. I apologize if I made you uncomfortable back there, but the second I laid eyes on you, I knew you were a keeper. And let go of me. But if I do that, you'll run away. And it's my personal rule to never let go of anything I like. Your brother says you can't go outside, so if I set you loose now, I might never get a chance to catch you again. I wanted to vomit. Apparently, taking my silence for approval, the man perked up and kept going. If you're not accustomed to being around men, then why not use this as an opportunity to get familiar? And a half-bad idea if I do say so myself. I think we'd get along quite well. Yeah, man. Besides, I'm a minstrel. Spend some time with me and I'll write you all the songs you could possibly want. Get away from me. You really do have the most striking eyes. Makes me want to keep them all for myself. With a muse like that, I could write the most incredible songs you've ever heard. Say, get back, you creep. Oh, that's odd. That one's never failed me. The man brought his face in just inches from mine and peered into my eyes. I could feel his hot, wine-tent spread against my cheeks. It gave me the chills. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. Panic and confusion and my heart racing. Go try your luck with someone else. I'm not interested. You will be soon enough, darling. You've simply never known a man's touch. He drew closer. He was already practically on top of me, but still he closed in. Closer and closer. The wall faded out. I couldn't see anything. I could feel his rising body so near it made me nauseous. My eyes flung open, but there was nothing there. I could only feel. I couldn't move. My body wouldn't budge. In my mind, I kicked the man away. Pulled my fist back and slammed it into his jaw, again and again and again until his face was unrecognizable. Again and again and again and again I beat him, but reality would have none of that. Michelle! Hey, what do you think you're doing? 3 seconds? 10 seconds longer? I had no idea how much time I had lost, but the next thing I knew, George had the man by the collar. I fell back against the wall, staring absent-mindedly as the two struggled. They traded blows and they traded insults. Before long, they had drawn a crowd. While they went at it, I distractedly drifted away, and I only had one place to go. I didn't even bother to light a candle. I just stared into the darkness. My heartbeat was maddeningly loud in my otherwise silent chambers. What had happened? What had he done to me? Why couldn't I do anything? Yeah. The last thing I wanted to do was cry. Tears would only serve to worsen my humiliation. Only magnify how wretched I was. Only make me more... Google, please help me. Effete. Affected and overly refined. Okay. Gah. I bite down on my lip hard. I had no need for that trash on my body. I dug my nails into my arm. I had no need for that trash on my body. All of this, every last bit of it. That was why I was the way I was. I didn't know how to put it into words. I didn't know how to express this boundless frustration within me. Okay, well, fortunately for you, you've been reborn in like the fucking 21st century, so you'll be fine. But after enough wordless groaning, a single word slipped from my lips, and it felt incredibly right. God damn it. I knew good and well a girl should not be using such words. Even Didier and Georges would have gotten an earful from mother or father if they were caught saying that. Regardless. God damn it was the most fitting word I could come up with to represent even the smallest bit of my anger and loathing. I knew all I was doing was shifting the blame, that all I would accomplish was making me look pitiful. But I would take that over crying like a girl any day. Yeah, I let loose a sigh that was halfway to being screamed, and started clawing wildly at my hair. I wanted to yank out every last damn strand of it. I didn't want it. I didn't want any of it. Any of this body. But in that case, what did I want for my body? Michelle? May I come in, Michelle? It was George's voice, slightly muffled through the door. The man who had invited those people into this house. I would be lying if I said I didn't hold that against him. Michelle. But at the same time, he had also come to my rescue. Besides, I hated myself the most. I despised myself for being so helpless. I'm sorry, Michelle. I didn't mean to hurt you. It's not locked. After a few moments of silence, George stepped into my room. Your hair's a mess, Michelle. Oh my god, you're bleeding. It was when I first noticed a stinging sensation in my lower lip. A metallic taste spread through my mouth. I had been biting so much harder than I realized, and there was a lot more blood than I expected. The trail of it was running down my chin, seconds from spilling onto my clothes when George wiped it away. I'm really sorry, Michelle. He can be a real ass when he drinks. And he's a bit of a womanizer at that. I never expected he'd try to go after you, though. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. But, you know, there's a chance he may have genuinely taken a liking to you. It just makes it worse. Sorry. You're right. You want to be with the man you like, I understand. He ran his hands through my hair as if trying to calm me down, at the same time cleaning up the mess I had made of it. It made me feel like it was some kind of plaything, a joke of a doll. I don't want to be with anyone. I would never ever be comfortable with a man putting his hands on me like that. However, I'm sure we'll find someone eventually, Michelle. Someone that feels right for you. I feel kind of awful for introducing you to him, but there are plenty of men in the world. You might not be interested now, but that'll change soon. It's part of growing up. You'd be best off forgetting today ever happened. I was dead certain, but apparently that wasn't enough to convince him. The very idea that I might one day meet a man who I wanted to touch me made my skin crawl. Why? Why did I feel like this? Was I just not interested in men? No, if that were the case, I wouldn't admire my brother's bodies. I didn't have an aversion to men. In fact, I enjoy spending time with my brothers far more than indulging my mother in her woman's world. What I couldn't stand was the particular look men would sometimes give me. But why? Why did I not like that? I had no answer. My thoughts were only going in circles. Are you okay, Michelle? He peered down at me, his face twisted in concern. But I couldn't answer him. How was I supposed to articulate this? My anger, my frustration, my irritation, my fear. I had no confidence he would understand. George, how's Michelle? Amy's voice came from the doorway. Inexplicably, I felt like someone had stuck their hand in my chest and was now squeezing my heart. Like I had just been caught in a compromising situation, but the last person I wanted to see me. Oh yeah, she's doing good, aren't you? Yes, I'm fine. Glad to hear it. I was clearly lying, not even looking him in the eyes when I said that. That seemed to have gone over George's head. Amy, on the other hand, you don't look fine at all, he said, a hint of pain in his voice, and then entered the room. George, Father was asking for you. He said it's time to bring the gathering to a close. You should get going. I'll stay here with her. Oh, is he? Alright then. Sounds good. Once the sound of George's footstep had faded into nothing, Amy took a seat beside me and, without warning, wrapped her arms around my shoulders. It's much better to talk to another girl at times like this. My heart leapt into my throat, but beyond the shock, I also found myself welcoming the warmth. It was pleasant, unlike the man's. It must have been terrifying. But don't worry, you're safe now. It wasn't really... no. No need to pretend, sweetie. If a man had me pinned against a wall, I'd be scared too. I mean it. I wasn't scared. I'm just disappointed in myself. Alright, I believe you. You're a strong girl, Michelle. There are many who wouldn't have been scared. I'll be sure to give George a stern talking to about his choice in friends. Something I learned today is that he's somewhat of a pushover, huh? You're a lot more tenacious than I thought. As a woman in this world, you have to be. And if you're not, well, you'll figure it out soon enough, Michelle. Of course, even as strong as you are, I'm sure it'll still be difficult to forget what happened to you today. George had told me to forget it as soon as possible, and Amy that I wouldn't be able to. George had told me to forget it as soon as possible, and Amy that I wouldn't be... Okay. Was it the difference in their individual's perspective, or was it the difference between the way men and a woman thought? I wasn't sure. As my head rested against her breast, a bit of my frustration slipped out. I couldn't move my arms at all. He didn't even seem all that strong. I couldn't believe that I was really so weak. That's just the way of the world, Michelle. Men are physically stronger than women, so you'll almost never overpower one. You're not any weaker than a normal girl. Don't blame yourself. It wasn't the consolation I hoped for. Her words still filled me with warmth. I exploited my own weakness to hear more of that soothing voice, and I alone knew how foolish I was in doing so. Okay, I mean, I feel like I know where this story is gonna go, right? Like, we all know where this is gonna go. Amy frequently visited my... because we already know, like, the story from Michelle and the other story. Like, we know what's gonna happen. Amy frequently visited my chambers. I didn't know if it was a mother's request or of her own volition, but I prayed it was the latter. She was a very touchy-feely person, and she seemed to have a particular fondness for playing with my hair. Whenever her voice danced its way into my ears, it would wreak havoc inside me. Being enveloped in her scent day after day stoked the fire growing within me. I did my best to remain as straight-faced as possible, because the last thing I wanted was her catching on. I understood that the things I was feeling were untoward, to say the least. Your hair is so utterly enchanting. I've never seen hair so white before. So, is this the scene where you're gonna say that you like her and she's gonna be freaked out? I think having color is much prettier. Oh well, George says white is the most difficult color to make with paint. There's no greater challenge than capturing the beauty of true white. Living with such a splendid example of the color must have given him a very high standard of quality. Say, Michelle, maybe you could tell me about yourself today. I'd love to get to know you better. Tell you about myself? Yeah, we could become even better friends if we found some mutual interests. I enjoy playing chess, and I consider myself quite good. Oh my, chess? I never played. You're such a bright girl, Michelle. Would you like to try? I could teach you. I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll pass. I doubt that would be any good. Oh, okay. What else is there? Say, your favorite kind of flower, fragrance, color of gemstone? Are there any Are there any embroidery patterns you're particularly skilled at? Okay, I know we're like playing up the gender thing, but do you like flowers? You like colors? You like gems? Maybe you like sewing. Maybe you like Barbie. Maybe do you like My Little Pony? I don't have any favorites, no. And I'm not especially good with a needle either. No? Do you have shaky hands then? I wouldn't say that, no. I'm fairly good with a knife, I think. Knife? Oh, like a kitchen knife? No, a sculpting knife. Sculpting? Is that really so strange? It is a bit unusual, I'd say. But George does it all the time. His room is practically made of wood chips and charcoal and paint. I feel like it's a bit like I'll say later. I'll say later. I'll probably have a lot to say at the end. George is an artist and a man. There's nothing unusual about him doing some sculpting. Why is it okay for him but not me? Does being a girl really make that much of a difference? Well, why don't we practice embroidery together, Michelle? I get the feeling you spent too much time with your brothers. But now you have me. I'm sure it won't be long before you appreciate how much fun cooking and needlework can be. She sounds just like Mother. And she gives the same reason too, because I'm a girl. That's not an explanation. It's a vague generalization. That said, if I agree, I can spend more time with her. Okay. Wonderful. We'll come up with beautiful designs together. And when you've made something you're proud of, you can give it to a boy who catches your eye. Or, if you'd prefer, you could give it to your father or brother. Man, it's kind of fucked up now that I think about it, that the witch made Michelle reincarnate as, like, a very feminine woman each time, and made her fall in love with the guy that she was trying to torture. It was kind of fucked up of her to do that. What the fuck was her problem? Or if you'd prefer, you can give it to your father or brother. I would like George to have what I make, though. Oh, I've been wondering. Did you and George meet at the royal court? Oh, heavens no. I've never been to the court. One day, my father told me I was getting married. And the next day is when we first met. It happened that quickly? What, are you worried about me, Michelle? Don't worry, I'm not displeased with the arrangement. In fact, I'm quite happy with it. Aristocratic marriages are almost always sudden. And as a woman, you get used to being a piece in their games. But George, he's different. He's a gentleman. A gentleman? Him? You sound surprised. I believe hedonist suits him better. Oh, I quite disagree. I have complete faith he'll do good by me. I couldn't fathom where she found such confidence in him. Especially a man she had only just met. How could she trust him at all? She was nothing but a pawn, and she knew it. So maybe she was simply putting on an act. I have trouble believing her smile was anything but genuine now. One day you'll meet the right man for you, Michelle, and he won't be a drunk like the guy from earlier. He'll be a kind, hard-working, respectable man. I would rather not find anyone. Aha, I suppose this is all still too soon for you, huh? Say, how old are you, Michelle? 14. Oh wow, I assumed you were younger. Do I really look that young? I had no hard feelings. You're just like a tiny little doll, so small and slender, so not gonna like that. And look, not one bit of meat up here at all! Hey! He playfully grabbed me from behind and started prodding at my chest. As her delicate fingers slid across my skin, I found myself gripped by very indecent urges. Every heavy thump of my heart felt sinful. She couldn't know, I couldn't let her. Everything I had been fighting to keep down came hurtling to the surface. You're so cold, you know that? She was touching me like it was nothing, caressing my hair. Was she this intimate with George? Or was it because I was a younger girl that she was so keen on putting her hands all over me? Before I understood what I was feeling, my body acted. This pure, unfiltered impulse. In my attempt to escape from her grip, I twisted around only to face... What are you doing? I twisted around only to find my face inches from Amy's. Slowly gravitating closer, I pressed my lips against the corner of her mouth. You really? You couldn't hold yourself back from doing that? That seems a bit crazy, but isn't this no better? Isn't this no better than what the guy did to you? This isn't very consensual. Amy sat there, flabbergasted. I was equally aghast. I'm sorry. As I frantically put on some distance between us, I'm sure my face was red as an apple, but I didn't know it at the time. Well, that was certainly unexpected. I'm sorry, did I make you uncomfortable touching you so much? You were smiling, though it looked forced. No, not at all. And I must have startled you. I'm sorry if I had let you go sooner, we could have avoided this accident. What do you mean accident? why are you doubling down? A kiss on the lips is it wasn't an accident. Okay, you're being kind of creepy. It wasn't, Amy. I seem to have confused you somewhat, Michelle. What? I know I can be very touchy-feely with you, and you took that to mean you should do the same. No, you can't do that again, alright? If you want to kiss your friends, do it on the cheek. Save the lips for the men you love. I should get going then. George starts getting cranky if I don't give him enough attention. Hold on, Amy. So long, Michelle. She wouldn't hear me out. Once Amy had filled my chambers, that was when I finally comprehended my own emotions, that she had stolen my heart. But Amy was George's fiancée. No, that wasn't the problem. My body was not meant for her love. You'll be fine in a couple hundred years. Ugh. I awoke in the middle of the night to pain in my joints. Not enough exercise, I guess. I tried bending and stretching my arms and legs, but it did nothing. So after pondering on it for a bit, I decided to go for a late night walk to distract myself. As I approached a corridor adjacent to the courtyard, I heard a woman's voice. Is he going to be snitching? I'm still concerned about staying here. Amy's voice. Doing my best to remain perfectly quiet, I pressed myself up against the wall by the window and listened in on their conversation. I knew it was improper to eavesdrop, but the sound of her voice had me frozen in place. It's Michelle. I'm afraid I've confused her. A tiny jolt ran down my spine, the muscle all tensing up at once. The sound of my name rising to her lips, but not in the way I would have liked. She kissed me. Well, almost, but how could I have guessed she thought of me that way? Mother told me she didn't have any female friends, and asked me to be one for her, which is why well, she had only been coming to see me because Mother had asked her to. I had been afraid of that. Afraid that she wasn't there, to be with me. That she had no fondness for me. That my yearning for her was one-sided. She kind of scares me, the way she looks at me, always watching every little move I make. I'm sensitive to that sort of thing. I can tell what's going through Michelle's mind. I managed to deflect it this time, but I should have never gone friendly with her. She had seen through me from day one, understood what I was feeling before even I had. It's disgusting. Homosexuality. Homosexuality? What's that? Did I hear her right? Something inside me crumbled, and with it came an intense sense of wrongness. There it was again. That overpowering discomfort. That fear coursing through my veins. That repulsion. That irritation. That apprehension. What on earth was I? Did I view Amy as a member of the same sex? Were the things I felt homosexual? I heard Amy sigh from beyond the window. Then the man beside her, who she was confiding all this in, replied, "She's still just a child." That voice. And one with underdeveloped social skills besides. Understand that she's going to do and say some inappropriate things. It's not uncommon for a child to mistake admiration for love, and I didn't know this until recently, but once you get something into her head, she has a tendency to run with it without thinking. It was not the man's I had assumed it was. Lydie? The other day, she asked me to let her be a knight. I can't imagine how she thought that would end any other way. Why? It's not very often there are women other than Mother at the estate. Imagine she simply got nervous being around you and something got mixed up in her head. What was Lydie out there with her? I hope that's all it was. Amy, hadn't you told me you thought George was a gentleman? So what were you doing? Getting so friendly with Didier? And Didier, weren't you my ally? Or was that all an act like her? You were going to be a knight, so why were you out here with your brother's fiancée? I'm glad to have you here, so I hope you can figure something out to make it work. I'll do what I can, but... And I'm kind of reluctant to say this to you. Something has to change. As it is, she kind of grosses me out. She grosses me out. So what? I was some kind of sick, disgusting creature? All I had done was show feelings for her. I couldn't be George's or Didier's. The needles piercing me expanded. What in size and number? Soon I was being skewered by a dozen of them, and the heated sighs rising from the courtyard only served to make the pain worse. All I could do... Oop, I skipped that line. All I could do was cover my ears and run. Why? What were you doing out there, Didier? How am I gross, Amy? It's not real. It's all but a bunch of lies. This entire house is nothing but a fraud. None of it was ever real. The family gatherings, Amy's smiles, Didier's kindness. George, what about George? Did he agree to the marriage knowing about them? What the hell are they thinking? They want to know who's really disgusting? God damn it. I will not cry. I will not cry. I can't allow myself. Girls cry. Tears are for girls, not for me. I bit down hard on my lip, wrapped myself in my sheets, and pressed my hands hard over my ears. Squeezed my eyes shut as tight as I could manage, tried to get away from the things I had seen. Images of them embracing in the night, threatening to float back to the surface. But I shook my head, casting them off. Praying I wouldn't have any nightmares, I drifted off to sleep. Should I stop here? We'll keep going for a bit. The next day, I awoke with a terrible fever. I hovered in a sweltering wave of heat, unable to tell dream and reality apart, listening to a seemingly endless stream of cracking noises. The sounds were coming from inside my body. Are you on your period? I thought I was falling apart. Mother was horribly worried. I had never been the most healthy child, but I had never fallen this ill either. I couldn't get out of bed. My voice was raspy like an old woman's. I was genuinely afraid I would wither away and die. Mother called in doctor after doctor to see me, but they all said it was the flu. That bodily pain was coming with a fever. While there was a doctor in the house, Mother was able to remain relatively calm, but once they were gone, the anxiety came back. She stayed with me day and night, even for going to sleep. Her hands gripped mine, they held me fast. She had her head bowed as if in prayer. Don't worry, you'll be alright, Michelle. God is watching over you, he will protect you. You are his child, you are his angel sent to earth. He will not forsake you. The doctor says it's just a flu. Though her words seemed to be directed at me, there was a vacantness in her voice, as if they were really for herself. For so long she had wanted a daughter. I couldn't understand her fixation, but seeing her there through my cloudy eyes, I wanted to apologize for everything and spending time with her was agonizing. How are you feeling? Your mother's here for you, don't worry. But the only sound that came from my mouth was a faint gasp. I drifted in and out of sleep, Mother's hand wrapped around my own, and I had numerous dreams. In my dreams, I was a man. Wow, who would have guessed? In my dreams, I was Didier and I was George. In my dream, I fell in love with Amy. And in my dreams, I loved her. You're disgusting. But with one word, the dream twisted into nightmares. My body was torn into fleshy chunks, and I sunk into the darkness. Several days later, my fever was gone, like it had never even been there. However, my voice did not recover. Oh, that's... Is that why you have... Why... Is that the explanation for why Giselle couldn't tell that you had a woman's voice? Was because the flu, like, fucked up your voice? And when I attempted to climb from my bed, the murderous pain in my joints came rushing back. Instead of my feet, I landed on my face. My voice was unbelievably deep. And the pain only got worse. Every time I took a breath, it felt like someone hammering a spike into the back of my neck. That's a very funny contrivance. It felt like my body was falling apart, like my dreams were becoming reality. Michelle! My mother scrambled into my chamber. I remember the time she had spent on my bedside, and a wave of relief came over me. I reached my hand out in a show of vulnerability, but she didn't take it. She couldn't take it. Mother. What's wrong with your voice, Michelle? Oh, I see. You're still not feeling well, are you, Michelle? Look of restrained fear on her face. Mother stepped toward me, placing her hand on my forehead. Her palm felt hot against my skin. I don't have a fever, but I hurt all over. My joints. You're still sick, Michelle, but don't worry, you'll be fine in no time. I'll back to bed with you. You're a girl, so you shouldn't be sitting on the floor. It's bad for your back. They're really fucking hammering this home, like, oh, Jesus. As Mother repeated the phrase, you're a girl, again and again, that nagging sense that something wasn't quite right grew more distinct. Was I really sick? Was this actually my voice now? And if it was, what was I turning into? My voice. But certainly not a girl's voice. My voice never went back to normal though. So Mother ordered me to remain in my room. I hadn't recovered yet, and so long as I was sick I couldn't be let out. Again, something felt wrong about her calling it a sickness, but I had no evidence to the contrary. I had no way to know I wouldn't get others sick if I exposed them, as she claimed, so I had no choice but to do as she said. In time, Mother too stopped visiting me, and the only people I saw were servants. They did their jobs but refused to look me in the eye. No one else came to— What do you mean they refused to look you in the eye? Because you have a deep voice? No one else came to see me though. Not Amy, Didier, or George. 1 month passed, then 2, then 3. Occasionally, the pain in my joints would withdraw. At other times, it would worsen. Are you transforming into a man? Is this what's going on? Whenever I would drift off to sleep, I would hear the sound of my own joints creaking. I would dream of a woman standing in the courtyard, her soft chestnut hair fluttering in the wind as she twirled to face me, a smile on her face and her breast exposed. One day, after around 6 months of servants refusing to make eye contact, I stopped one and made a request to have a mirror brought to my room. While he didn't acknowledge me, the next day I had him a mirror. By that point, I was fairly certain I knew what was happening to my body. I had no clothes to wear, because none of the multicolored dresses were hanging in my wardrobe fit me anymore. Pulling the heavy red cloth over covering the mirror aside, my completely naked body came into view. Something resembling a mix of a chuckle and a sigh of pity spilled from my lips. This is me. 6 months. After only 6 months' time, I could hardly recognize myself. Extending my hand for the mirror, I traced the outline of my bony reflection. My shoulders lacked mother's curves, and my skin Amy's sheen. I was pale and haggard, but structurally I looked like my brothers. Obviously, being younger than them and not as active, my muscles lacked any kind of strength, but I wouldn't have batted an eye if I saw myself holding a sword. I was a full head taller than I had been 6 months earlier. Okay, is this the witches doing, or did you just grow up to look like this? And I felt an odd certainty that I wasn't done growing either. Staring at myself in the mirror, I traced my name across the surface. Michelle. Don't need the last two. So fucking corny. Michelle, yeah, I get it. That was fucking... In 6 months, now you look... In 6 months, now you look like this? Okay. For the first time in my life, I liked my name. I still didn't think an angel's name suited me one bit, but it was staggering how different it felt now, even if it sounded exactly the same. Those last two letters changed the meaning entirely. I wonder, like, the human body is fucking weird. Like, I wonder if a girl was born and had some genetic predisposition to, like, some sort of a hormone imbalance or something, and had a predisposition to growing up looking more manly. I wonder if that would have an effect on, like, the brain, and, like, there would be a higher chance of thinking of himself as a man or something. I don't know. Those last two letters changed the meaning entirely, turning it from a girl's name to a boy's name. This makes sense. Everything was falling into place. My admiration for Didier, the envy I had for my brother's bodies. If you think being gay in the 11th century is hard, try being transgender, Jesus. The feeling I had for Amy. The indecent dreams I'd been having. I was always male. Ha. Ha 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 ha. I cackled like a fool for the first time in my life. I laughed so hard at the sight of myself my stomach hurt. It was the first glimmer of light I had seen in this locked room for far too long. This was what I was supposed to look like. My life up until 6 months ago, constricted and uncomfortable. My life as a girl was all a lie. Ha 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 ha. No one could possibly look at me and call me an angel. Ha 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 ha. I was always a boy, but I had been told I was a girl, forced to act like one. Of course that wouldn't feel right. Ha 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 ha. They needed to know. I couldn't be the only one who understood. Everyone in this house needed to. Ha ha. Fueled by this one desire, I wrapped the sheet over my shoulders and threw open my door. I don't think your family's gonna like this. It seemed ridiculous how long I'd followed mother's instructions and remained cooped up in my room. Nah, I felt fantastic. There truly was a God in heaven, and this change within me was his answer to my prayers. If only it was that easy for everyone. A manservant carrying a tray of food did a double take as I passed him. The farther I proceeded through the corridors, the more eyes I felt on me. The midday sun shone obnoxiously bright through the windows. Now, with its piercing radiation illuminating my proper self, I felt an odd affection for the light. I could hear the family gathered in the great hall, everyone but me. Lydia's voice complained about the... Oh, this is gonna go well. Lydia's voice complained about the simple meals the church provided, but his pride came true in his laughter. George's voice playfully bragged about life at the royal court. Father's voice informed everyone his investment had borne fruit, and with the money he had purchased several new estates. Mother's voice was distinctly less bright than the rest of the families. She gave vague, empty indications that she was listening, though mostly stayed out of the conversation. Amy's voice sang her praises for George, her beloved husband. Never mind the fact she was sleeping with Didier. Okay, you don't know that though. Like, all they did was speak one time, like, in the garden. Like, it seems like a bit of a stretch to say that they're sleeping with each other, but it was all a facade, a mere shadow of a family. It's a shame Michelle couldn't be here. Then we would have everyone. I was there. I was right there. I hadn't gone anywhere. You're just locking me in my room. I hope she recovers soon. I was never sick at all. The child you called Michelle was actually your son. That was all there was to it. Huh? Everyone's gaze is concentrated on me. I gave them all a quick glance, and then, with my deepened voice, I said, I am cured. I can't do a deep voice. I was cured 6 months ago. Who are you? Sure, you haven't forgotten my face, have you? Father? Michelle? Michelle? This boy is Michelle? A wave of shadow spread through the hall. Mother went pale. Father objected. Lydia stared. George gaped? He gaped in the middle with everyone watching? Amy watched cautiously, fear in her eyes. What a farce. They were the ones who had wrongly decided that was a girl. What's going on? Someone tell me, what is the meaning of this? You're dressing your son up like a girl, Mother? I assumed he was a girl. Otherwise I wouldn't have put my hands on him like that. You lied to me. I would have never agreed to it had I known. No, you're wrong. Michelle's my daughter. You called Dad a girl? All these months I was worried because he said he was sick. But that was all a lie. I couldn't pass him off as a girl anymore, so we locked him up in his room. Is that what this is? And you could have just... And you could have just stayed there. What possessed you to show yourself now? Stop that. Don't look at me. Don't give me that look. You said you can tell what's going through my mind, didn't you? What? Then you should know exactly how I feel about you right now. Don't be so damn full of yourself. I have no interest in a whore like you. Okay, calm down, Michelle. So why don't you go cry into Didier's arms? You. What? Huh? What are you talking about? Why Didier? Why not me? What? Hey, anyone want to explain that for me? What had once been a nice family meal was now utter chaos. Okay, you're kind of going full scorched earth on them for... Feels a bit excessive. For the briefest moment, I felt sorry for George, but that whispered away almost immediately. There was a crash from the table and dishes fell, shutting against the floor. Cursed! Strong darkness oozed from her voice. She's cursed. She was my daughter. I saw it with my own eyes. I gave birth to her. She was a girl. Michelle was a girl. Malevolent curse has been placed on her. When Mother lifted her head, I had difficulty believing that was the same woman who had sat by my bedside as I lay sick, sacrificing sleep to care for me. Her hair was a fragile mess, and deep creases covered her face. Restraining her, threw her in her room, unlocked the door. She's a girl, she was a girl, I swear it. Huh. Open your eyes. Do I sound like a girl? Do I look anything like a girl? Mother's cry sent me into a frenzy. I ripped the sheet off my shoulders, throwing it off the floor. I am not a girl. Uh-oh. And shouted, Eek! Ah! Restrain her. Please, someone restrain her. Fear reigned in the great hall, but then several moments of icy silence were broken by muttering that shocked me as much as anyone else. You're not a boy or a girl. What on earth are you? Oh. So they are hermaphrodites, like I said, or... there may be a better term for that word. I don't know if there is, but I'll just keep saying it because I don't know the alternative. You're an abomination. You're not a boy. Okay, wait. Or is she just saying that because they have a vagina? I'll just say he, because he has a vagina, but the rest of his body's male. Is that why he's saying that, or are his genitals also like male and female? You're an abomination. I'm what? I had seen myself in the mirror. I was undoubtedly male. Lacking in strength though they may have been, I had a visible muscle. My chest was flat and I was taller than a girl should be. My voice was deep and I had an obvious lump in the middle of my throat. Do you? I was male. I had to be male. What else could I be? So why was Amy looking at me like some kind of strange creature? I picked up down my spine. I suddenly found myself deeply uncomfortable being so exposed. I mean, you're the one that did it. There's nothing there. You've got nothing there. Oh. Okay. So it is what I said. Okay, I don't know if hermaphrodite would be the correct term, because I think hermaphrodite is having both, or having like some traces of both. If you have nothing, then I don't know what that's called. Is there a term for that? I'm not sure. I can do some research later. You've got nothing there. Nothing there? I didn't understand what she was talking about. Unable to press further, I fell silent, at which point several servants burst into the great hall and restrained me. She's a girl, she's my daughter. Mother, seemingly in mad days, had just repeated the same thing over and over. She was a girl! As Mother railed, she wandered off somewhere. Father stood there in silence. Amy stared at me with disgust in her eyes. George was still in panic, and Didier clenched his fist. Eventually, I started regaining my composure. It was when I realized I had made a mistake. My sickness had been made into a curse. I was once more caged up in my room. In addition to the door being locked from me outside, the windows were boarded over so no one could see in, leaving me in a perpetual darkness. I received no visitors except the servants, and again, none of them would look me in the eyes. Let's stop here for now, because it has been an hour. Okay. So that was a lot. So you've got nothing there. But they thought that Michelle was a girl when they were born. So did the vagina disappear, or did they not? Did they just not look properly when they were born, or? Okay, I'm not sure on the exact the exact details, but I get the idea. Um, so I will say, first thing I gotta say is I'm surprised I wasn't spoiled on this, because usually when Japanese media has some kind of trans character or trans affiliated character, whatever you want to call it, usually that becomes very talked about because it's pretty rare. It becomes very talked about and it becomes very like a big discussion topic. Like okay, okay, I fucked up because now I want to reference a different visual novel, but if I say what it is, then like if I say spoiler warning for this, then you'll know that this is a spoiler, so I can't say it. Um, okay, fuck it. Everyone who's watching this video has played Yumineko, right? Surely. Okay, if not, then leave now. Spoilers for Yumineko. But like the whole like Yasu being trans thing, like that has like so many people talk about that. Like I feel like it is very likely for someone who reads Yumineko in 2025 to already know about not necessarily the exact character, but know that there is like a trans or like a character who has a trans experience in the story. So I'm surprised I wasn't spoiled on this. Considering Fata Morgana is pretty popular, so I guess good job on the community for not spoiling this. So yeah, having like a trans character in a story is pretty rare for Japanese media. It does happen. It's not like super rare. I mean, trans people do exist in Japan. It's not like unheard of. But it's not super common that's demonstrated in media. Usually when you have like characters that like break the gender line in Japanese media, it'll be like played like more playfully or less seriously, like like Astolfo or fucking Felix from ReZero. Like it'll be like traps as you call them or whatever. Like it'll be like or otokonokos, like it'll be like cross dressing more usually is more what it is. It's rare that it's taken seriously as like no. It's not that I'm dressing up as the opposite gender. I want to be the opposite gender. It's pretty rare that it's treated that seriously. So it usually stands out when it does happen. So it is. I will say it is just on its own interesting to see that because you don't see it often in this, like in visual novels, especially. With that being said, with the way it's handled in this specific case, I do think it was handled. I'll say it was handled well. I would say overall. I think the best parts of it were Michelle's like thoughts and the way they were thinking about like like the way they were thinking about their life, like admiring men's bodies, or like, wait, am I homosexual if I like girls? Like, how does that work? Like that whole thing was like handled pretty well, I think. What I think was handled maybe a bit more clumsily was like the whole like gender angle and like being made to act like a girl and like being reprimanded for liking guy things. I feel like that was really like over the top. Like I guess to be fair, this is happening in the 11th century, so gender norms were a lot more extreme than they are in the 21st century, obviously. But like I feel like every other line in the story was like, oh, you're a girl, you can't do this. Oh, but I'm a boy, I gotta do this. And you're a girl, but I'm a boy. And but you're a girl and I'm a boy. It felt a bit like okay, come on. But to be fair, like I said, 11th century, obviously things are different. Um, Also, it's a bit like, I guess it's fine. Like Michelle being so put off by doing anything even like remotely feminine, like now wanting to do embroidery or fucking cook or whatever. I guess that's fine. Yeah. I know there are some examples of like trans or like what we would now characterize as trans people in history, that happened before like trans people were really a thing. Like I mean the famous one that I know is Chevalier d'Eon. That I don't only know them because they were in FGO, but they're pretty famous for being like a knight who had like both male and female characteristics. Like they were a spy and they often like they often acted as a woman and often lived as a man. Like they changed it up. I'm pretty sure they lived like the last like couple decades of their lives as a woman. But that was like way later in history. This is like pretty very early in history, so things are different, obviously. Because that Chevalier d'Eon was like during fucking Louis XIV's rule, right? So that was way later. She was a girl. Yeah, I'm still confused at like the exact mechanism of what happened, but I guess we'll just say that God did it. Because going from looking like how Michelle looked from looking like this in 6 months is kind of crazy. Like even as like a one-off like crazy like biological thing, like that is kind of crazy. Something else, I guess. The story was told well, but I felt like it maybe dragged on a bit. Or maybe it didn't. Like I wouldn't say any scene felt out of place or any scene felt like it went on too long. But I think the issue is just like from the moment the story started, like you kind of know where it's gonna go, right? Like from the first scene, like I know what the next hour was gonna look like story wise. But it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like if it's still executed well, it's still good. But for me, I think like not knowing what's about to happen is kind of an important part in storytelling. So like me like knowing, okay, this is gonna happen and this is gonna happen and this is gonna happen, that does like make it a bit less interesting, I think. But overall, yeah, I think I'd say it was handled well. I'm not sure. Oh, also one thing that's interesting is like I said, like trans characters or characters that have like trans related experiences or whatever in Japanese media, like or VNs or anime or whatever, it's almost always like almost exclusively male to female. Like it is almost like I can't think of a single example of female to male trans characters in Japanese media except for this. Like this might be like legitimately the first one I've ever seen. I might be forgetting some, but I honestly cannot think of a single other female to male trans character in Japanese media. I'm sure I'm forgetting some obvious one, but so this it is notable enough to point out, I think. Because every single trans story I can think of that's Japanese is male to female, which makes sense because the people writing them are going to be, you know. I'm curious how like a trans person would relate to this story. Like would they say that it's like totally like they really relate to how Michelle, like what Michelle was thinking during the whole thing and it really resonated, or would they say that it was maybe like a bit over the top? I'm not sure. For me personally, like I'm obviously like I'm a guy, but I don't care at all about fucking gender norms or whatever you want to call me. So it was kind of hard for me to relate to Michelle in a couple of these scenes, like because Michelle is like so like what's the word, stereotype. Google, please come to my rescue. The YouTube video is not loading on the pronunciation guide, please. Now I look stupid. Stereotypically. Okay, yeah. Michelle was like so okay, I can't say it. Stereotypically male, and was so like into like male things and like male hobbies, and only wants to do male things, and hates anything girly, and hates having any male close to him, and makes him want to vomit. Like that part is kind of hard for me to relate to, because like even as a guy, like I guess I'm not that attached to my masculinity that like I would be disgusted at having to do any of these things. Like I've said this a couple times. I don't know if I said it on this channel, but like to friends and things. Like if I woke up tomorrow and I woke up as a girl, I don't think I would care that much. Like I wouldn't have a mental breakdown because of gender dysphoria or whatever. I don't think much of my life would change in any way. Yeah, I'm just not. I guess I'm just not someone who cares about gender that much. And even the people I'm attracted to, like I'm not like I wouldn't be opposed to dating a man or dating a woman. It's just not something that really bothers me either way. So in that way, I think that made the story a bit harder to relate with, just because me personally, like these aren't feelings that I have. This isn't something that I can really relate to. Like maybe if I was like a fully like cis like masculine guy who's like really like masculinity is really important to me. Like being a masculine manly guy was really important to me. Maybe this would relate. I would be able to relate more to this with like what Michelle is saying and what Michelle is experiencing. But maybe just that made it harder to relate with. But I still think this was a good story and it was well told. It's not over. I don't know why I'm saying like it's over. There's still a bit more to go, I think. But yeah. And also I will say, I like that, I really like that Michelle wasn't like a complete victim in all of this. Because in a few of the stories, like the main character has just been like, like in Giselle's story and like kind of with the witch, like the main character has just been like this perfect angel who does everything right, but the world just fucking throws misery after misery after misery on top of them, and they just like their life is fucking awful just because of like happenstance and people treating them badly. And like obviously Michelle like was mistreated and like had a shitty life because of things that he couldn't control, but he also did bad things. Like he wasn't a complete victim. It was like kissing what was her name, Amy, like randomly, like out of nowhere, and like having the fucking freak out in the dining room. Yeah, I like that Michelle had like some punch to him, right? Like he wasn't a complete like he wasn't a complete victim in the story, I guess is a way to put it. Which I like. Okay, do you have anything else to say? I don't think so. I think I've said my piece. If any of you want to comment, I assume. Okay, I haven't read any discussion on this game online, but I assume this is what the game is known for, right? Because this seems like something people would like and something people would relate with. So, I assume people have some thoughts about this. So if you want to share those thoughts, feel free to in the comments. But yeah, I'm gonna stop here for now. I guess with this, every mystery has been resolved, right? We know everything. I guess we don't know like why the witch started talking to Michelle. We'll probably find that out. He probably gets banished to the mansion, and then the witch starts talking to him there or something. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna stop here for now. Like I said, if you have thoughts about this, about the story or what I said, feel free to leave them in the comments. But yeah, I'm gonna stop here for now. Alright, see you.